Okay, I think our group's already here. Let's start our session. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second preliminary round of the English debate. I am Luciana Devi as the chairperson and the timekeeper for today's debate. And the motion for this debate is this House would ban social media that enables the proliferation of eating disorder. First, let me introduce the debaters. Acting as the opening government for this debate is a team from SMA Negeri 8 Samarinda with Mrs. Altadila as the Prime Minister and Mrs. Indria as the Deputy Prime Minister. Acting as opening opposition for this debate is a team from SMA Negeri 2 Tenggarong Seberang B with Mrs. Aristi as the leader of opposition and Mrs. Rabiatu as the deputy leader of opposition. Acting as the closing government for this debate is the team from SMA Katolik Santo Franciscus Assisi Samarinda with Mr. Ariel as the member of government and Mrs. Jessica as the government whip. Acting as the closing opposition for this debate is the team from SMA Negeri 1 Samarinda B with Mrs. Jetsiana as the member of opposition and Mrs. Fiona as the opposition whip. Now I'd like to introduce the adjudicators for this debate. The first adjudicator is Mr. Susanto. The second adjudicator is Mrs. Syamdianita. And the third adjudicator is Ms. Elvare Zabrina. Before we begin, should I explain the regulation first or we can start now?
I think we can start now.
Now, to begin the debate, I would like to invite the first speaker of the opening government, Ms. Altadila. Time is yours.
Please wait. You checking, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I accept any POI, but I prefer to unmute yourself. Thank you. And I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Well, dear panels, we noticed that from the very beginning that what is actually eating disorder. Eating disorder is considered as a mental disorder, right? It is an unhealthy way that people are forcing themselves to reach a type of body image that unrealistic, that they are started to extremely cutting off food. They are started to forcing themselves to not eating by day. Because of that, they wanted to achieve something that is really unhealthy for them. And also talking about website and the social media that there's a lot of proliferation of eating disorder. We know that there's no trigger warning, right? That is really unhealthy for the society that see this thing in the social media or website. Because of what? Because there's an unconsciously affects people because of the unconscious effects. It is will living in their head rent free without them knowing. And then what is that? Why that we are as the government wanted to ban this thing? It is because of what? First of all, it is physically and mentally affects you. Why it is physically affects you? It is because of, we know that while doing eating a disorder, that you're automatically doing what's diet, right? You're cutting of food, and then there's a cheat day where these people are started to doing a revenge eating, and then gonna be over it, and it could lead them to gain the overweight and obese. And also there's one of them that doing it even worse. They not they're not eating at all. They're not even eating at all because they are being unconsciously affected by this. And then in social media that we know that social media it is it is a big it is a big platform that easily can influence people, right? Especially for population of eating disorder. Like I easily see it on YouTube, on TikTok, and so ever. So we're in we take a look at people that actually affected by this. So people that physically and mentally affected by this, it is that we know that Nico Avocado, he was really great at playing violin. Also, he was a vegan, but once he do the cheat day and then he started to eat the junk food, what is that? He got the satisfaction that these people that having the eating disorder wouldn't get, and then it makes him feeling addicted to do these things substantively. And then he starts to, from doing a healthy vegan, he started to moving to doing eating unhealthy foods like such as junk food and everything in our way. And it affects him mentally and physically. Why it affects him mentally? First of all, he always cry during mukbang because of people that mock him for being obese, people that mock him for being mentally unstable. And then here he's not being able to control himself because of this overeating. And then why it affects him physically? Because we know that he gained too much weight until that he's not being able to walk and broke his own ribs. And at the end of the day that we know that these people are suffering, right? And it unconsciously affects them. And then why that we are really wanted to ban this, because it is bring more harm. And then people that mentally affected mostly think that they are mostly being denial towards this situation. Because of why? Because as we could see that from Nico Avocado, if it hits himself, he started to saying that, oh, it is only a water weight. I won't do a healthy diet. I won't eat any healthy foods because it already affects him. It affects him mentally, that he thinks he thinks that, oh, eating this is good. It's the same way as the people that been struggling in eating disorder. They think, oh, it is good because they're getting used to it. So the deeper analysis about the enable of the proliferation will be explained by my next speaker. So based on my better analysis and substantive point, very proud to propose. Thank you.
Time spent by the first speaker of the opening government is 6 minutes and 15 seconds. I repeat, 6 minutes and 15 seconds. To oppose the case from the government, let us invite the first speaker of the opening opposition. Ms. Aristi, time is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that in this modern era, we can access everything in the internet, and we have a phone to access it. So for the example, we can access the YouTube and every social media or maybe websites to know what is the new information or maybe new content on that. But I think that in YouTube and in every website, they have many content. One of that is about the about eat more eating, or we can say that mukbang. You can eat very many of variant of food, and you can maybe we actually know that of half of the women, or maybe girls who want to skinny, they watching about content about the diet content or some things like that. And uh so our motions is about the prolif this household ban the prolifer sorry, this household ban the website that enables proliferation of eating disorders. Uh, talk about this. I'm talk about this. I want to say that we cannot blame the YouTuber that have a content about the mukbang, or maybe the about the diet, because I think uh it's it's the way they it's the way they can get the money, and of course it's the way them to educate people. So for example, like the the YouTuber names is Yulia Balchand. She is have eating disorder before, but actually with her experience, she's educate the every um every her viewers for do it the do it the health diet or some things like that. And actually we about the mukbang, I for example, we can tag from the Boki it. She is I think when I was watching her video, I'm feeling very very uh very interesting with her how her how her make our um how her make the her viewers very um, comfortable to eat something, and they her want to make maybe their her want to make the restaurant or this restaurant that that use her for endorse the food, and it's actually get money for them who has take up about this content. And I think that um, proliferation of eating disorder is not actually bad, at least, but uh, you can, because if you because if after the or after that if you after that you watching the video about the mukbang or the mukbang, so you must be educate yourself with the yourself about how to still health still life with the health lifestyle, um, uh, health lifestyle between health lifestyle, then you want to eating more food with more food and have and than more healthier than now. And of course for the skinny people, I think it's very benefits it's very give benefits for them, because with um with watching the mukbang content, I think they gonna have the they gonna have they gonna have they gonna have source they gonna help source how to eating um, how to eating very well, how to eating very well, and I think that's all for me. Sorry if you don't understand. Good afternoon.
Time spent by the first speaker of the opening opposition is 5 minutes and 35 seconds. I repeat, 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Next, to close the case for the opening government, let us invite the second speaker of the opening government, Ms. Indria. Time is yours.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I will first of all, we didn't really see the opening opposition point about the motion, and they don't tackle they don't tackle any point of my previous speaker have said. And moving on to my points, as first of all, we want to ban the social media that is enable the proliferation of eating disorder, because there are some posts that is containing eating disorder content, but they didn't put the trigger warning first. And what are these things can lead to? Well, the people who are trying to recover from eating disorder or is on eating disorder, now when they are see that post, when they are see that content on their social media, what can happen? That can trigger them, and that will make their disorder even worse. And we didn't want that to happen. Now I will engage with the opposition side of the house points. They try to tell you that there's this YouTuber named Yulia Balchun. She educate people because she ever have this eating disorder problem. Well, I'm asking you how she can educate people. She recover from the eating disorder because what? I mean, she is successfully recover from the eating disorder because all the supports and seeing the content on the social media that contains eating disorder without trigger warnings can even triggers her more. And if that things happen, she wouldn't be here standing today and educate all the people about her experience. So we are not condoning the sugarcoating about social media that enables proliferation of eating disorder should not be banned, because there are some posts that is containing eating disorder that may trigger some people and make them even worse. Now, moving on to my next point. This eating disorder can affect you physically and mentally badly. As my previous speaker said, we take an example from this mukbang YouTuber named Nikocado Avocado. As you can see, Nikocado itself is used to be a decent human being. He has hobby, has a healthy lifestyle, even a healthy romantic relationship with his partner. And what happened after all of this eating disorder? He became really worse. He became overweight and etc. As my previous speaker said. And moving on to my next point. Because people that are triggered from seeing social medias that is containing eating disorder, these people will try to recreate unrealistic body image. they are trying to, because they are seeing unrealistic body image on social media all day. We are trying to be realistic. We are trying to be realistic here. People nowadays sit on their phone 7 days a week, so they may see some body image, some unrealistic body type that will affect them, will influence them to 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 have the desire to look like that. Now, when they want to recreate that unrealistic body type, that would be hard, since everyone is not built the same. Everyone has the different body type, and well, some of it might be harder to recreate that desired unrealistic body image. And this can lead to them cutting off food and not eating the food portion that they are deserve, and they might be having a malnutrition, and this can this can lead to a revenge food portion when they are having a cheat day, as my previous speaker has said. When the cheat and after having a extremely unhealthy diet, they will having a cheat day, and what happened on the cheat day? They will eat as many as they could, because they feel like it's a revenge, because they cannot eat from the previous day, and they are revenging on the cheat day, and it made them even more harder to achieve the body image that they want, and this can even lead to the eating disorder. And now, moving on to my second point, moving on to my next point. Since you are having an extremely unhealthy diet, eating a lot of food, being unhealthy, this will affect you mentally and physically, and this will affect your whole social and social life, and even yourself. You will have no energy, or even a great state of mind to affect yourself from being positive, because you are mentally and physically ill because of that eating disorder. Because of that, you are trying to recreate that unrealistic body image that is showing on the social media with no trigger warning. So, as the government side of the house, we are very strongly agree to ban the social media, and we believe that we win, because we give you the realistic and deeper analysis. Thank you.
Time spent by the second speaker of the opening government is 7 minutes and 22 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Next, to close the case for the opening opposition, please welcome the second speaker of the opening opposition, Ms. Rabiatul. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone, the educator, and all the participants. I am Rabiatul Adawiyah, the member of the opposition team. Supporting a person with an eating disorder can be a very tricky thing to do. How do you know whether what you are doing is supporting your loved one in their recovery process, or enabling their eating disorder to retain its grip? The mukbang website in YouTube, TikToks, in Instagram give reference how to get healthy life. For example, 1. Educate about eating disorder. 2. Talk about or evaluate your body or other people's bodies, or talk about the dieting, or weight in front the person in the cover. Third, ask, ask to be involved in your loved one's treatment, and other hand, the YouTuber earning a lot of money, and it is used fully for everyone. For example, Julia Balsnes, it her eating disorder before, even though she had the mentally problem, but she not going up for such about how to have the health lifestyle and how to fight her eating disorder while she want to be a healthier. Wait, I think just that. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Time spent by the second speaker of the opening opposition is 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I repeat, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Next, to open the case from the closing government, I would like to invite the first speaker of the closing government, Mr. Ariel. Time is yours.
Okay, I would like to start my speech in 1, 2, 3. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from what my previous speaker has already spoken, we already know that by banning this website is actually making a very big benefit for us. And that is why, because those websites are enabling proliferation of eating disorder. It does not, it didn't like show you the content like very clearly, but it showed a really in a meaning that it is hide away, but actually it could actually trigger someone. For an example, a website where there actually there are very many type of body, and then the writer or the author said, or even the creator said that this type of body image is very perfect. Now, from that perspective, from a person that already has an eating disorder, it could actually trigger them really deeply. Even if they already recovered, they could be triggered really easily because of just that website. From that, we could know that eating disorder is very dangerous in our society. From the previous speaker of the government, it is already very good, but I would like to point out two arguments that they didn't bring up, and that is, why do we ban this website? First of all, by we banning this website is actually helping us to reduce the amount of people that are having an eating disorder. Now, those websites could actually be very innocent at first, but from a person who have an eating disorder, it could actually trigger them, as I said before. Now, there's a case then that's according to the data in the National Eating Disorder Association in USA, almost 20 million women and 10 million males in USA have experiencing an eating disorder. Not only that, according to American Psychiatric Association, noted that at least 50% of population in this world have experienced eating disorder. Now, if you could imagine those many numbers in our world, there are already many people that have experienced eating disorder. And eating disorder is not just a funny or just some kind of joke. It is actually a very dangerous disorder. There's actually a case in Indonesian Next Top Model, and that happened in 19 March 2021, where one of the contestants, Eileen, actually told her story about the eating disorder that she has experiencing, and the comment from the judges that calls Luna by a celebrity called Luna Maya and Deddy Corbuzier actually give a comment to her, and that actually give a backlash. That actually get a backlash from many people because of how insensitive they are. That makes us to realize that eating disorder is actually not very being taken seriously in this matter of hand. And by letting those websites, being accepted by many public, it could actually be a serious matter in our country. And that brings us to my second point. By banning those websites, it could actually raise more awareness about how serious is eating disorder. Now, as I said, eating disorder is a very dangerous matter. But in our country, eating disorder haven't been really taken seriously. Instead, they always said about obesity and stuff. Why? Because obesity is still in the point of view in our human that obesity can affect your body type or your aesthetic in body, because they see fat as something that is not good. They see fat as something that is not natural. That's why obesity is taken seriously, while eating disorder like malnutrition, anorexia, bulimia, pica, binge eating, rumination is actually never been taken seriously by people, because they think that if you're getting fat, then you are getting worse. Instead, but like having being fat and even being skinny, that is up to the limit, that is like not normal to people, it's actually very bad for our health. According to psychologist Tara Adisti Tahwar from the Lighthouse, said that this case of eating disorder has not been exposed enough to the public of Indonesia. So that's why we need to ban those websites so many people can be more aware about how serious is eating disorder. The point why we want to ban this website is because this eating disorder or this mental illness or this mental disorder about eating is actually very serious and can cause death. It's not like obesity just ruin your image. No, it could actually cause you death. And that is why we, and from the government team, to really strictly propose to ban those websites. That is all. Thank you.
Time spent by the first speaker of the closing government is 5 minutes and 48 seconds. I repeat, 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Next, to open the case from the closing opposition, I would like to invite the first speaker of the closing opposition, Ms. Jetsiana. Time is yours. Ms. Jetsiana.
Okay, hello. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
you are.
Okay. Starting my wait, hold on. Okay, starting my speech in 3. Okay, wait. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, several clarification that we are going to do under the side of our press. First, when CG told you that eating disorder is not being taken seriously, like in those Indonesia next top model, for example, we say like we know that it is not being taken seriously, and under the side of our house, we say when people actually have social media, people call this this idea of eating disorder not being taken seriously on social media, right? Under said proposition, social media is being bad, meaning that no people actually calling these people out, no, meaning that no people actually think that this idea that eating disorder is not serious. People do not call those idea out, right? No people talking about these important issues. They have failed to actually, to bring those ideas out. And another clarification toward the opening government. They told that clarification to opening government. Okay, under side closing opposition, we're not normalizing eating disorder. We don't support eating disorder at all. We have the same goal as to actually make people recover from it. This is not a debate about whether people should stay to have eating disorder or not. OG and CG actually dismissed this fact. And another response toward opening government, when they told you that avocado, for example, influence people to do the same, to eat junk food, for example, right? Simple case brought by opening government that you say we respond to it by saying that people are clearly aware that what these people like Nico Cado, Avocado, for example, or Amberlin Reid are doing, what he is doing, what these people are doing is wrong. These people are actually killing themselves slowly, right? Also, closing government told us that they can be triggered, right? We say that it is actually up to them to what they want to see. When they actually want to recover, meaning that they will not see this. They will not see this those skinny girls on the social media itself. We cannot generalize it by saying that, oh, these people only see skinny girls on the social media. No, if they actually want to recover, if they are in the process of recover, meaning that they don't actually see those kind of things, right? And also moving on to my arguments. The main question that I'm going to answer under my speech is that why are platforms important under two layers? First, how it counteracts, and second, how one issue shouldn't hinder other issues, right? Now, first, how it counters acts, how it counter the proliferation. We see that in platforms there will be counter opposition, right? Like body positivity pages that bring awareness to love your body as it is. These people that spread this body positivity narrative, they call out certain influencers that promote body toxicity, that promote eating disorder type of behavior. They spread body positivity, but under the side of our house, this will not happen because there will be no social media at all, meaning that people cannot actually call these people like call this influencer that promote eating disorder at all, because there is no discourse. Even if they say that, oh, there will be still TV and whatsoever and whatnot, right? We say that no, TV will not work because to actually TV will not work because discourse is only exclusive under the side of our house. There is no comment section for people to talk about this issue on televisions, right? They cannot actually talk. They cannot actually call these people out. Even worse, television could be very biased and also promote eating disorder without any discourse, meaning people cannot actually call them out because there is no comment section in television. Also, the social media is banned under government side of the house, meaning that TV could be very biased. They could promote eating disorder without people calling them out. There is no social media to actually call these people out. The world is running under the side of government bench. Also, second arguments, why one issue shouldn't hinder other issues, right? We say that platform like this still have the very important news on it. There are people that are trying to give us important issues that is happening on current condition, on like international something that happened in our nation or could be in the international, right? Like for example, BBC News on Instagram. BBC News actually BBC News spread what is currently happening. This news like this, like on Instagram or YouTube, for example. These news are actually voicing out their voice and spread awareness about what is currently happening in our world. Even if they say that we can see this on TV, we say that there is no check and balance because there is no compensation and whatnot, right? This cannot be done under side proposition, people cannot actually voice out their voice on social media and see or aware about what is currently happening in our world right now. Because again, social media is being banned just because of one problem, that is proliferation of eating disorder. So panels, what have we actually told you in this debate is that we actually first that we not only that we solve this whole eating disorder problems by people spreading body positivity awareness, and people telling stuff and ideas like tips on how for people with eating disorders on how to cope with it. Not only that we do that, but also we say that under our side of the house, more people will aware of what is currently happening on our world right now, different with a proposition bench, which they ban social media, no discourse, nothing at all. Therefore, I'm so proud to oppose. Thank you.
Time spent by the first speaker of the closing opposition is 7 minutes and 23 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Next, to close the case from the closing government, I would like to invite the second speaker of the closing government, Ms. Jessica. Time is yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'm the second speaker of the closing government. So I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. First, I wanna rebate the previous speaker of me from closing opposition. She said that we said social media is bad. Well, actually, the government team said that social media or website that enables the proliferation of eating disorder is bad. Not that we say that social media is bad. No. And then they are talking about television while about websites or social media. And she also mentioned that social media being banned just because the eating disorder paused. And before that, she also said that they doesn't normalize eating disorder, but they say that social media being banned just because the eating disorder paused. So just that means that it's not a serious matter for them. Okay, and then the opening government speaker, second speaker said that Yulia Balchun can educate people by her experience from recovering from the eating disorder. They said that Yulia Balchun needs to feel that eating disorder first, and it's not good. I'm agree with them. But for opening opposition speaker 1, they said that like Yulia Bachun, who had eating disorder before, but after having experience now, she can educate people with it. So they support of proliferation of eating disorder, which I guess we all know that Yulia Bachun have that experience, had that eating disorder. So does every one of us needs to experience it first, then we can be like educates people about it. Why don't we just stay away from the eating disorder, like not don't have to jump to it first and then feel it. We can just stay away from it. And then and for closing, opposition speaker once said that it's up to them to see whatever they want. I bet, ladies and gentlemen, we all already heard that opening government already said that there are some posts that containing eating disorder but didn't put the triggers warning first, and people who watch it can be triggered because there are some posts that can trigger eating disorder badly, and it affects your physically and mentally, of course, badly. So, ladies and gentlemen, hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Okay.
you are audible.
Okay, sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, we as the government team really support to ban websites or social media that enables the proliferation of eating disorder, because eating disorder is a really serious matter and enables the website that proliferation of eating disorder will be dangerous. And because of that, we as citizens of Indonesia really needs to take serious of this eating disorder because of how dangerous it is. I think that's all. Thank you.
Time spent by the second speaker of the closing government is 5 minutes and 12 seconds. I repeat, 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Next, to close the case from the closing opposition, I would like to invite the second speaker of the closing opposition, Ms. Fiona. Time is yours.
Am I audible? Or is there like rain noises that is kind of annoying? Is it like okay? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the rain noises got water, yeah. Okay, awesome. All right. So I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. 2 questions and I'm gonna answer in my speech. First, I'm gonna question the idea of which side of the house protects the vulnerable better. Second, I'm going to answer a question on which side of the house understands the value of websites and social media and onto the society. But now let's move on into my first part on asking the question on which side of the house protects the vulnerable better. Under this part, we say the clear answer to this is closing opposition bet, right? Under here, I'm going to mostly talk about the vulnerable actors in debate, which is the victims of eating disorders. Like, for example, like people who suffer from anorexia or people who suffer from obesity that all considers as eating disorders. We say those people fall under that category, and those who are exactly, we say we protect under this debate. Now I'm going to have multiple responses towards opening government, right? Their prime minister tried to frame this debate and say that eating disorders are subconsciously influencing the audience through social media. We concede to the idea that this is true. Subliminal messages are big in our capitalist world, right? But we say banning them all is counterproductive towards all of this idea of making these people to recover from this. But further on, I'm going to explain on that point onto my second fact. Second rebuttal towards their prime minister under opening government, right? They tried to say like, oh, Nikocado Avocado influenced people to do the same, like, feeling good by eating junk food and binge eating. And that's what exactly like people do. Our response to this, we say people clearly are aware that Nikocado Avocado is killing himself slowly. And you can clearly see on social media, there are tons of discourse about him. talking about, or even like even commentary documentaries, analyzing what made him lose himself in the first place to binge eat like this, to the point where it clearly shows that it mentally deteriorates. Essentially, Nico Caro Avocado is a deterrent effect, and the social media is aware about this. And what can make that discourse to keep happening is social media itself. So Prime Minister's argument under opening government do not stand in this debate. But then their deputy prime minister tries to give in the debate and say again the point of there's no trigger warning, so it's harmful. Of course, there isn't a trigger warning. These messages are subliminal. You need to notice that. Kim Kardashian clearly would not put a trigger warning, dysmorphia, because she's trying to sell you something, right? She's trying to sell your product. Companies that promote healthy fit or like lifestyles aren't going to explicitly tell you that they want you to make you feel insecure about your body and how you look. Then you would buy their slimming tea or buy their, their body dietary products or pills, right? But then another response to its closing government, a member of government. They try to came to this debate and try to, exaggerate on the fact that, people have eating disorders and this is something as serious. People are suffering. We clearly know this. None of us in this debate saying that eating disorders are good and people who suffer from eating disorders are, not something serious, right? But also notice that panels, the member of government under closing government are clearly being fat phobic by differentiating eating disorders that make you skinny and fat. We say one of the reasons why we apprehend them in this is because they actually talk about the things that matter in this debate and not determining whether or not eating disorders are bad or good, right? Of course, it is awful. We all know that. But then, what then has our side of the house as the chief under the class of protecting the vulnerable actors better? My member of opposition has told you that we have an exclusive benefit of discourse, right? Under our side of the house, we are able to actually have people talk about the things that do matter, like discourse about how Nico Caro Avocado is not doing good, or how Eugenia Cuny is, essentially suffering from anorexia. Opposition claims that we say that under our side of the house, we're actually going to have keep having these platforms for counteracts. Like this is the point that has been dismissed by closing government. They even dig their own hole, deeper in this when they say that these are not taken seriously, like when it happens in Indonesian top model, right? Exactly like how my member of opposition told you, when it happens on TV, when it happens on outside of social media, what calls them out? Social media calls them out. When people actually realize that, what's happening and people are proliferating eating disorders on TV, the people who call them out are those who are in social media that are essentially also part of the platform that, in a way that also has, people who proliferate. But we say that there's also opposition pages there who counter that. There are pages of, body positivity that bring awareness and call out the celebrities or influencers that, do promote these eating disorders in a good light, and furthermore makes those people who suffer from eating disorders worse. So under our side of the house, we're able to issue exclusive benefit of keep making this aware. So we don't get house side proposition here are able to pull up this. But then let's move on quickly onto my second question on answering a question on which of the house understand the value of websites and social media to society. I noticed that until the end of this debate, none of the benches in this debate has talked about this, right? Only my member of opposition has mentioned you to this, which has also been dismissed by the whip of side proposition. We say that there are more things that are way more important than banning websites that, also at the point also enable proliferation of eating disorders, which is a lot of websites. Note this, these kind of websites are under the umbrellas, like the most used social medias like Instagram, YouTube, like Twitter. Most of the people use this. Just because Madison Beer posted what she eats in a day, which is essentially just starving herself, is not going to abolish social media, these social media that are also platforms to talking other important issues. This is something that has not been acknowledged by side proposition at all. Just because Kendall Jenner looks perfect and being a skinny legend is on your timeline, we say we shouldn't, it's still not necessary to close all the social medias that are talking about important issues like what's happening in Palestine or what's happening in Xinjiang, where the people are, genocide is happening and people are literally dying. It's not worth it, right? You can't generalize that every single person who is on social media is just scrolling on their time and looking at Kendall Jenner and Kim Kardashian and how perfect their body is, right? So under our set of the house, we have the benefit of keeping social media up because we think that is clearly unnecessary, which does not be tackled down by any of the benches and the debate. Under our set of the house, we gain a benefit of getting a full discourse, which why then these kind of counteracts are still available, and therefore why eating disorders is not mostly of a problem because we have people talking about it, and we also countered the idea about having the for benefit of using it as social media the best way and most effective. Very proud to post. Thank you.
Time spent by the second speaker of the closing opposition is 7 minutes and 36 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 36 seconds. Can anyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, Miss.
That's all for our debate session. Now for the educator decision, please the contestant to leave the chamber and wait on the main room for a moment, giving time for the educators to make decision in your chamber. Serta dipersilakan untuk keluar dari chamber ini dan kembali ke main room. Nanti akan dipanggil kembali setelah juri selesai membuat keputusan pemenangnya. Oke, terima kasih. I think it's complete now.
Halo, semua partisipan udah ada ya? Saya roll call dulu ya, just to make sure. From SMA 8 Samarinda.
Present.
Oke, SMA 2 Tenggarong A. SMA Tenggarong. SMA 2 Tenggarong Seberang.
Present.
Oke, SMA 1 Samarinda B.
We're complete.
Oke, SMA Katolik Asisi.
We're here.
Okay. Let's talk about the general view of the debate. First of all, the debate kind of falls into average to below average debate due to a few reasons. First of all, I think that some of the teams are playing too safe, having an unclear stance. Secondly, we see on how the debates finally go sideways in a few teams and only get clearer at the end of the debate. And we thought that there's a lot of arguments that aren't really being explained well enough, although we think that it may help for us to make a better decisions if the argument were much more explained. For the positions we give, untuk posisinya kami berikan kemenangan to, this is a crossbench win. Untuk 1 diberikan kepada closing opposition, second to opening government, third to closing government, and fourth to opening opposition. Sekali lagi saya ulangi, this is a crossbench win. First go to closing opposition, second to opening government, third to closing government, and fourth to opening opposition. Why do we think kenapa kami rasa ini adalah posisi yang benar dalam pertandingan kali ini? First of all, untuk OO dulu. Why do we think OO deserve the last place? First of all, OO kayaknya jadi tim yang, how to say this, go astray from the debate. Most of their arguments aren't really that, how to say this, well received and well sent. And we think that most of the arguments doesn't really relate or give any kinds of relevance toward the motions itself gitu. Most of their arguments play on the idea of how people can obtain information easily nowadays. We can blame the YouTuber on how we cannot blame YouTubers on making this because this is a path of their incomes, etc. like that, and how to say that this is their way to teach others to eat healthy without explaining to us why exactly this is exclusive to those YouTuber or social media, and were explaining to us how exactly they are trying to teach us being healthy. There's an idea there that actually we think that can be helpful. The idea of how this is gonna create, ini bisa membuat orang-orang terutama kayak mereka yang punya problems untuk makan, untuk more comfortable to eat more gitu loh. But we don't see that being elaborated in any way, and we cannot accept that as an argument that deserve a point. Therefore, you got fourth. Third place, why closing government got a better place than OO? First of all, but cannot overcome opening government. First, we do think that most of the argument came from opening government yang udah dijelaskan di atas. It just got more elaborated by the closing government. But secondly, on how their idea only stop on the first layer, on the saying that we're trying to ban this to help those people that are having having eating disorder. But why does banning something, stopping them from seeing something, help them? How does that help them? Without any kinds of tanpa ada kayak penjelasan lebih lanjut. Oh, karena mereka stop lihat, mereka berhenti nih. Jadi orang-orang yang kayak eating disorder. But why just stop seeing something helps you? That doesn't explain. Secondly, they just talk about mereka hanya coba membawakan idea bahwa oh ini nggak terlalu serius dilihat. Sorry. Ini. Mereka coba bawa idea bahwa this is to raise more awareness, but rather than talking about how to raise awareness on a general level, they're trying to specific that kita coba raise awareness bahwa ternyata eating disorder tuh nggak cuma yang satu tipe aja tapi dua tipe. But why exactly banning something gonna help you when gitu loh? Kayak bagaimana to raise awareness ketika kamu nge-ban something? That is not being explained to us in the end of the day. Oke, untuk opening government, kenapa kami rasa kalian dapat second tapi nggak first? First of all, kami rasa kalian bermain terlalu aman. Kalian coba nge-ban untuk konten-konten yang nggak diberikan trigger warning. So what happens if those content have a trigger warning? Boleh aja lewat atau gimana? We do think that you're playing to save you, having a half stance. Dan kami rasa that's a bit problematic in this kind of debate. Secondly, your depictions of eating disorder is kinda how to say a far-fetched depiction. Jadinya kayak eating disorder ini severe banget, sama kayak orang candu narkoba. Ketika kamu sekali kena, kamu sembuh, tapi kena lagi langsung akan kickbacknya ngeri banget gitu loh. Kayak reboundnya parah banget. Tapi you don't explain to us kayak gini. No trigger warning may lead people to try to recover from that issue. So, jadi ketika orang punya trigger warning, apakah saya akan tidak lihat itu? Why does it gonna help me to avoid those kind of thing? Gitu. Secondly, kalian coba membawakan idea of how kalian coba membawakan kasusnya Nico Avocado ya. That guy example to real life. Tapi nggak jelasin kayak why exactly he need to be banned gitu loh. Kalian cuma jelasin, okay, he's being ruined, his life as being hidupnya dirusak sama eating disordernya dia, but where does it lead? Jadi arahnya kemana? Oke, kita tahu bahwa hidupnya dirusak sama eating disorder, tapi bukankah dia yang bikin konten itu? Gitu loh. Isn't he the one that creating those content? So why does banning those kind of content gonna help it? Gak ada penjelasan. Okay. Finally, and secondly, I do think that opening government can do much better with a better characterizations of who is exactly being influencer. Siapa sih yang sebenarnya berdampak di sini? Apa sih sebenarnya yang kita bahas dan limitasi yang seharusnya ada gitu loh, dibuatkan sama dari government. Contohnya mereka buat limitasi bahwa okay, we gonna ban ban social media that doesn't have any guideline to stop this kind of thing, atau we gonna ban social media that goes around that stuff. Okay? Dan kenapa kami kasih SMA 1 closing opposition the first place? That we do think that closing oppositions have the best case of explaining to us which actor are being influenced here, the media, medianya itu social media, dan juga orang-orang yang the doers, people that have those kind of issues are being explained here, and why exactly banning social media won't do any help to other people. We do feel that the explanation is much better to explain here, and we do see that okay, there's a benefits of keeping this alive rather than just banning it, everything just because of a certain issues and stopping the spread out of other information. Mungkin itu sih. Elva atau Miss ada yang mau ditambahkan?
I think that's enough.
I think that's enough tuh Kak.
Mungkin itu aja. Luciana. Probably kalau mungkin they need more explanation bisa dilakukan waktu PA nanti. Thank you.
Can I close our session, Sir
Yes.
Renan? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this second preliminary round. Congratulations for SMA Negeri 1 Samarinda Team B as the winner for this round debate. Thank you for your attention and please go back to the main chamber.
Thank you, adjudicators. Thank you guys for the good debate.
Thank you, sir and ma'am, for your amazing comment. It's a pleasure to have you here.